another episode of Raw Talk with Respect with D Mainstream. And yeah, I have to do that back and forth real quick just to let you know I'm here. And a lot of things have happened this week, and had a few people say, "Hey, when's your next one? When's your next podcast?" A couple things. One is I'm gonna do one tonight, not too long, maybe 30 minutes or so, depending on how much my ADD medicine works. The second one will be Saturday. We're going to do one at the studio. We're going to do the studio live podcast. Going to do it for about an hour and a half with a few special guests. So stay tuned for that. Remember always to like and subscribe. Be safe out there. Wear your mask. Social distancing. You understand. You understand what's going on. So, what I'd like to talk about tonight is, do words matter? Seems simple enough, right? Do words matter? Well, think about, let's say, discussions you've had today with people you've talked to, whether it be on the phone, associate, family, whomever. What words do you use to describe how you feel to them? And do you find yourself having a disconnect sometimes because you say something but it's perceived in a different way? Maybe the inflection, maybe the word choice. Do you really know what you're saying to people when you say what you say? And do they really understand the words that you're choosing to use? I think a lot of times we don't give a lot of credibility to the fact that I think there's a disconnect there in a lot of ways. In relationships, it could be in just your normal everyday banter with people on the phone, especially during text messages. When you talk on the phone, especially when you're in a relationship or not, and that doesn't mean like boyfriend, girlfriend, or partner. That means like any relationship on whatever level that may be. When you're talking, do you exacerbate certain words and use certain words to sensationalize how you feel when it's really not accurate as to how you feel, just to get your point across without any pushback? Do you mislead the conversation when you do that? Honestly? Because sometimes, is it really that bad? Does it happen all the time? Do you never do this or get this, or they never say this to you? I think we use those words quite often, almost as if they're commonplace. They're not. They're just not. You see it every day. You're inundated with it on the news, on internet, on your phone. Words that make you stop, look. Train wreck's coming. Let me look at it. He said what? We look for it every day. Then it filters down to our relationships on any level. Easy killer. Those that know me understand that. Easy on that. Have some empathy. Sometimes it's okay to do so. You are not weak when you do that. And they could be dead wrong. It's not for you or anybody else to decide. They're just telling you from their perspective. Kind of like us guys when we go fishing and we caught this 15-pound bass that broke two rods and reels, and our friend just happened to hook it with something and pulled it in the boat. It might not have happened that way, but that doesn't matter. It's our story. Let us have it. And we'll work around the kinks in it. Wars are wars, battles are battles. They're two different things. And what it really comes down to is how important is that person that you're having this conversation with. Is it just a conversation? You can do with it as you will. Or do they mean something to you? And really, what does that say about you if that's the case? Yeah, right? And then when you start using these words, you lose the subject that you're really trying to express to this person. or people or group or response to your Facebook page? How easy is it for someone to get you out of your character by words that they say to you that have no bearing on your life? Think about that for a second. How thick is your skin? Think about it. The last time someone got you out of that character that you know is not you based on something they said. Some people you don't even know. Words are powerful. So they can get you to feel that way even if you don't say it out loud. How powerful are your words? I think it's very important that we're conscious of what we do, what we say, and how it affects the people that are around us. We assume that they understand what we're saying, the words that we're choosing to speak. But I don't think you should go that far. I think you should break it down. Cut the meat up. Cut it up. Bite size. Let them be able to really, really absorb what you're saying and understand your perspective. The whole point is when you're saying something, you want them to understand where you're coming from because you're probably passionate about it or you wouldn't speak. No. For most part. Most people. And you got to be very careful that you're using the accurate words to describe what you're trying to say. A lot of times we use words that don't really mean what we're trying to convey to our party. That's important, people. Very important to the healthiness of your relationship. We all know this. This is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. But what I thought was this. That's my ADD kicking in. What I thought was this. We're smart enough to talk to people at our job and get paid for it. We're smart enough to interact when we want something to get done. We're smart enough if it matters to us or our children or someone that really is important to us to make some things happen, to communicate what we're trying to convey. Where do we lose that fervency, that skill? Or does the emotion take over and we just don't care, even though we want the same outcome? Sounds like a double entendre to me. We want something, we don't want to convey that, we do it in an abrasive manner, but we expect the same thing. So if someone did the same to you, what will your response be if you're being honest? And you can answer that among yourselves. We got to be better. And we got to be more responsible. And we need to stop looking at the internet only as things that we want to find out about, but things to learn from. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. That is no rocket scientist that's necessary to break that down for you. Words are powerful. You can lift someone up and make them feel 1,000,000 times more than they ever thought they could. And the crazy part is you know this. And what's worse, not crazy, is that you make a decision either to do or not to do. And it doesn't matter if they're that important to you in your mind. They're human. What do you lose? When you smile at someone, it's very difficult for them not to smile back. And if they do, you're like, I hope you feel better. But it's difficult. You go into an elevator and not say a word to someone that's 5 feet away from you. That could change your life. Why? Think about that. No use for it. Why should I? Maybe they needed it. How far-fetched is that? Maybe they needed a word from someone just to say, hey, how are you doing? You look nice today. Hey, how are you doing? I hope you have a great day today. It's tough, right? How would you feel if someone said it to you that you didn't know, that just saw you for maybe 10 seconds? The beauty is that you know how it would feel and how it would make you feel. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. Why can't you make someone else feel that way? Why can't you make the people that are around you feel that way? You so mad at them that you can't make them feel that way? They did you so wrong. Okay. Because you never done anybody else wrong. Well, not like that. So that's just from you. How do you know it's not from them? Their perspective is totally different than yours. And that's not even an argument, to be quite honest with you. Words are powerful. You know what you could do. You choose to or you don't choose to. So my point to you is, don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. You can absolutely transform someone's day by telling them something that makes them feel amazing. And you don't have to lie to them. You just have to look. You just have to pay attention. Because if they didn't have any of those characteristics, why are you around them? Why are you around them? Are you around them to make them feel bad, or yourself to feel better about you because you find all their faults in your mind? Or are you in their life to make them feel better because you see the beauty of what people don't see in them? Who would you rather have on your team? And that's not really a question. You understand that, people? That's simply just letting you know it's important. The food we feed into our mind, what we see on this internet, what we hear on the radio, what we entertain conversations with. Because more often than not, that's what we spew out of our mouth, especially if it goes along to what we believe in the first place. It's the people that don't believe the way you do that you have a problem with. And even if you don't agree with them, that's okay. But there's a way to communicate that. Because we're still human. Everyone's not supposed to agree with you. You need those people that don't. And you can be respectful. You don't have to lose who you are because someone is not who they are, who you think they should be. I'm not saying don't demand your respect, but be respectful as well. And the truth is, if it's really not respectful, you won't be around them. But if they mean something to you, maybe, just maybe, they don't have the tools to process what you do. Maybe you are years ahead of the game. Maybe you are more experienced in life in communicating with people, because we all have those people in our lives that are not very good at communicating openly with people. Whether it be a confidence thing, whether it be verbiage, how they are able to express how they feel, and they get frustrated and don't know what to say, and so they don't want to say anything, and so they shut down and just get angry. Be able to read that. Your friends, your family, your associates, people that look to you and say, hey, I see this or I see that in you, there's a reason they're telling you that. Use your talents to bring them to a different level. They'll never forget you. Because the truth is, everyone you talk to in your life, you want to make an impression on them. You want them to feel worth. You want them to feel amazing. Because you want to feel that way every single day. And you know what? A lot of times you don't. Because you are suffocated by things in your life that you allow to take your confidence, your self-worth, your wherewithal. So stop. Care, but care about you more than anybody else. Because if you don't care about you, you can't care about anybody. You just can't. no self-worth, how can you see worth in anybody? And you're your worst advocate. Why can't you be you're your worst, you are your best advocate, but sometimes you're your worst as well. You pick yourself apart instead of finding the things not only in your life physically, mentally, emotionally that you can pick at that are amazing. So many people in your life, this is for everybody. So many people in your life tell you you have these capabilities, you have these characteristics, you have these things that make you stand apart, that capture the room, that made them feel better, that made them understand. Why not focus on those things? Why not ask more when they tell you these things? What else do you see? I'm working on me. What else? And then, what do you see in them? Give them something back. Give them something. You see something. It reminds me of you get invited to someone's house. You may not know this, but when you get invited to someone's house or someone invites you wherever, bring them something. Bring them something. Nothing major. Just something. Anything. Bottle of wine. Card. Something. It's those little things that people really appreciate that says, hey, they noticed. We assume that everybody needs to or understands that, well, they understood. They get it. Doesn't matter. Nonverbal communication is just like words. I'll repeat that to you. Nonverbal communication is just like verbal communication. Works the same way. And a lot of times we give those nonverbals out and we're not very conscious of what we're displaying to someone. Hence, you hear all that mixed signal stuff. Well, you said something, but you not really doing the same thing with your face and your body and how you interact with me. So, I would say to all of my friends, which this week was a really difficult weekend, do not waste time, energy, who you are on someone that does not appreciate you, even on the most basic level. Because that has more to do with you than it has to do with them. Because words are powerful, that is why we should not wait till someone is gone before we tell them how we feel about them. It's why we should not wait till tomorrow when you get up from your sleep, when you get from work. We just take too much for granted. And the words you say out of your mouth come from somewhere within you. And people understand that. And you could change someone's world by your words and what you say. And the truth is, even if they didn't know what you were saying, they go and look up that word in Google anyway because they don't know. And they're not going to tell you they know, but they're going to say, and then look it up. It sounded good. Or they're going to ask their friend, did you hear that? He said this or she said this to me. That's dope right there, man. Look that up. That's real good stuff that she just said or he just said to you. Surround yourself with them and you be one of them. You lift them up. You have good, insightful conversations with them. You disagree. But when you do, when you're at your most vulnerable time when you disagree, still lift them up. Do not change who you are. That little peak sometimes grows and festers. And you know what I'm talking about. But you can't let that. because then you're not in control anymore. Someone else is controlling you mentally, emotionally, then physically, because now you start to act certain ways and say certain things that normally you wouldn't. Get yourself back together, kid. Grab yourself. Understand who you are. You're an amazing human being. We all are. As long as we realize that, we have our faults. We all have our faults. But the truth is, someone can tap into that really good place of yours and make you blossom. Surround yourself with those people. The people that are not, give them what you can, but then move around. You are not Captain Saver. That's a song. That's okay if you don't know it. The truth is, you can't save everybody. You can only do what you can do. If they don't want to eat your food, move around. You have to learn to do that. Some of you out there that wants to save the world, it's okay to do that, but then, hey, there's a temperament in doing so. They have to be receptive. If they're not receptive, you tell me if it's really going to work if they're not receptive, and you tell them over and over again. And I say over and over again because most people, you tell them over and over again the same exact thing. And then you wonder, I've said this, why is nothing changing? And I'm going to give you a little bit of game and tell you why nothing has changed. So this is free. I could charge you for this, but this is free. They don't change because the expectation is not different. If you have children and you tell them you're going to do something and you never do it, do they stop? The very basic example you get, whether you have children or not. So why would you expect any different when you learn it from there? I said I could charge you, but I'm not. And I stand by that. But it's true. And you know it's true. It's good shit, right? I know. So if you expect different, you get different. It's a mentality. If you speak different, people respond different. That negative person that's around you all the time, that's at your work or when you talk to them on the phone that has something to say about somebody and is always nagging, why do you talk to them? It has more to do with you than it has to do with them. Why don't you change the conversation? Talk about something positive. Why don't you change the way they think about things and talk about something positive? Some internal shit right there, right? We won't talk about that because people don't want to talk about that. That's real. Can you imagine if everyone you talked to and interacted with was positive and told you some good stuff every single day? Start your day off with it, end your day off with it. How healthy that would be for your life. Kind of like good food. You have your occasional things that are not good for you. It gives you a great perspective of when you get the things that are good. But you do not do that every day because it's not healthy for you. And I'm breaking this down for you. Come on now. Consistency. The other part just keeps you very, very understanding and being relative of the other side of that picture. The good, the bad, the positive, the uplifting, the downgrading. You tell me, honestly, when somebody's beating you up mentally, emotionally, and talking down to you, why you feel like it's okay for you to stay and accept that. As many reasons as you may think in your mind, please don't say I love. Love is very, very deep, encompassing. And when you say that, a lot of times we don't know, again, about the words. Know what love means, because that's a very, very deep word that means more than just love. If you love someone, That is deep. Whether you're a Christian, and you can look at the scripture, which is called charity, or just when you say you love someone, period. Words are powerful. Did I say that? Words are powerful. Understand that, people. Be very conscious of what you say to people because, believe it or not, you affect their world on an everyday basis. Quit being selfish. Me too. Because I'm selfish. I'm impatient. And I get impatient when someone is not the opposite way of me. In essence, when I call sometimes and I don't get a response, I get impatient, I'm mad, I'm upset. But when they call and I don't answer, not right. So I got to work on that. You know the things you got to work on too. I don't have to tell you or call them out. Just give me an example of me. Because I'm far from perfect. And I'm okay with that. Because I have a lot of room to grow. I don't have it all figured out. I have a few things I think I have figured out because I'm a man. And I think I know everything. And usually I do. A couple of times, a few times, I don't. It's okay. I have backups. I just want you to take the time, people, because we are really good people. All of us are, in some form or fashion. And we can make people feel amazing if we want to. We can. We lose nothing. As many times as someone has talked to you about someone that says something negative about someone you knew, or some dirt, or something that's gossipy, how many times in your mind have they came and told you how amazing their friend was, what they did, family member, someone they met, someone they saw, consistently, every day, all day long? Man, that's a lot of good communications. That's a lot of good talks. What you put in here and in your heart comes out your mouth. My dad used to say something to me, and I don't know if it's in just my culture, the black culture. I think so. But he would say something to us when we were much younger. He would say, put your brain in gear before you put your mouth in motion. Or, before you put your mouth in motion, put your brain in gear. Simple, but elaborate. That's experience teaching you that. That's a lot of not putting your brain in gear before you open your mouth. That's where that's coming from, and that's what I took from it. And I've wrecked a couple of times myself. So I'm still learning. And that's why I'm talking to you now, and that's why you're listening. Because we all want to do better. We all want to succeed. And you know what? There's nothing like watching someone else succeed as we succeed ourselves. But it's a mentality. When you wake up tomorrow morning, the words you choose to say to the people that you're around changes the course of their day. What if you made someone's day every single day? You absolutely did it on purpose. Every day you got up, somebody, you're going to make their day. That's my challenge to you. It's my challenge to myself all the time. Sometimes more than not, because I get inundated with life and things that get me off target. And I have friends that push me back. And that's what I'm doing for you. With all the things that are happening, and you should be aware. Focus on making people feel amazing and aware of what's going on with them. Be upset about what's going on. Have a voice, but be smart. Because my audience is very smart. Most are professionals. Some are not professionals in their industry of jobs, but they have a professional experience of life, regardless of age. I want you to understand, I have hope. I have hope that people understand what I'm saying and will choose to talk, communicate, and strive to make the people around them better. Regardless of what you're going through and what they say or they don't say to you, that's not contingent on what you do, people. You're in complete control of yourself. Make someone's life amazing every day. And you don't have to do anything big. It doesn't take a lot. It just doesn't. So that is my night tonight. Dak Prescott, we're looking at your brother. We want everything for you. We want to make sure that you understand we love you here in Texas and worldwide. And my man, I can only hope they do you right, which I believe they will. You hate to see that. You hate to see that. Especially since he's been going through mental issues with the brother and coming out. I can just imagine. Excuse me. I can just imagine what he's going through right now. So Dak, we send our love to you, brother. Cowboy Nation sends our love to you. But if we keeping it real, words are powerful, right? He knows like I know, like every one of you know. Cowboys, you gotta win. Words are powerful. Go win. Lakers did it with Kobe. Go win. Dak is not deceased. That's a different thing. But when something happens to someone that's the leader of your team, it stokes a fire within you. It makes you want to do things that you normally wouldn't do. And the pain on his face as he left the field were the nonverbals that I talked to you about at the beginning of the podcast. And at the beginning of the podcast, it was nonverbals speak just as loud as your verbal words. And when you saw it as a fan and you felt the way you felt, can you imagine how they felt on the sidelines? So I have high hopes because his nonverbals spoke to the team in a positive way. Say, go get it. And now they're in passion and they're going to say, go get it. And the words and verbiage they're going to use every day is, go get it. Could be wrong, but I bet you they're going to play their ass off. And it's always going to be talked about until he comes back. To all my friends, to all my family, to everybody that's joined me tonight, I think you're amazing. Any subject matter that you want to talk about for this coming Friday, let me know. I am definitely, we can talk about it. We can do what y'all want to do. I've been asked, Mr. Luke Chaco is now going to be an ambassador for HRC, which is an amazing feat. A young ambassador. Doing good in the community, brother. Kudos to you, just so you know. And we're going to say that this coming weekend as well. My friends, this is The Mainstream. We are going to keep it live all the time and tell you what we feel. And if you have any questions, any comments, send them to me. Let me know what you think. And I appreciate you. And let me leave you with these words for you. We're always in a position in this society where we see words that are always used to divide, where words are used to pit us against them, you against her, him against them. Fill in the blanks. Sometimes that's necessary when evil's there and things are being done wrong. But in your regular, everyday conversation of people you do not know, and even people that you do really do know, you're either having a conversation with someone that does not appreciate and understand or sympathize or empathize with the things that are going around with you because their experience has not taught them that. And either you can try to convey to them how you feel as best you can and move on, or it's going to make you bitter. Don't get bitter. Don't allow someone to change who you are. Be better. Speak, communicate, and let it be said. Let it be said. You know, a lot of you will talk about the Bible all the time and say, hey, I believe in the Bible. It says in the Bible, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay, right? Don't pick and choose what you want to believe and utilize. Just saying. That's that communication and words matter stuff. When you say you love, look it up. Don't just say it. So much info in your mind a lot of times. It's hard to compartmentalize because sometimes when you're talking to someone, you have all these other things that you haven't discussed yet, and you want to bring them all into this discussion, and you lose your audience. Women, you do this a lot. That person has done so many things at this time that you're mad and upset and angry, you want to talk about it. That other stuff that you've been keeping on the wraps and keeping it down on the low, don't want to talk about it, comes up and you lose your subject matter. Speak your mind. Speak your mind as best you can. Be respectful. Be passionate. But remember, if you were talking to yourself, how would you talk? What would you say to convey how you felt? Next time I'm going to tell you my Venmo, so y'all can send Venmo to D Mainstream. I'll set it up next time. No more free stuff. You can listen if you want to. It's all good. I got nothing but love for y'all. D Mainstream one more time. Have an amazing week. I will see you this weekend. Go vote. Go vote. Early voting starts tomorrow. Not telling you who to vote for, why to vote, but go vote. Don't wait and say, I didn't and I'm not happy with what happened. From the city level to the county level to the state level, not just the presidency, even your HOA and school board. Get involved. No more sleeping. Not an excuse anymore. You have too much accessibility to information to find out what you need. And if you don't have that, call a friend. D Mainstream. Have a good night, everyone.